Good morning, good evening, wherever you might be today. Wherever you are, I hope you're enjoying your day or getting ready to enjoy your day. I'm Cindy Carter. I'm an intuitive, an artist, an energy healer, and a spirit consultant. I am doing these Alchemy podcasts each Sunday as a gift to you, to allow you the understanding and the awareness that you are the alchemist, that you are the one in charge of your life, and that you hold the key to the divinity within you. So I'm kind of helping you remember the codes and remember the frequencies of the divine. And for you to take in these podcasts, not as fluffy, just simple advice, but as alchemic motion for you to utilize in your life on a daily basis, on a momentary basis, when you find yourself needing alchemy, needing transformation, needing to change. Because right now, changing our mind is paramount. Changing our heart is also paramount. But what we're also trying to do is speak our truth in ways that is compassionate for ourselves and others. That's what our podcast is about today, speaking your truth. And I have a little story about that for myself. I'll use myself as an example. But, last week we talked about the ludicrous speed, not the rapper. But ludicrous speed as in, we're going at this wild pace. It's crazy wild. It's moving faster than our minds can even conceive. The speed of how crazy these transparent times have gotten. The transparency where everything is being shown. Where governments are showing their ugly. People are showing their ugly. Nothing can be hidden. Reptilian governments are coming down. I feel the future of the transparency. I'm feeling the speed of it. The universal alignment brings on this speed. We are in a trajectory here on the earth that's causing transparency. But we've been warned. We've been warned for I don't know how many eons by all kinds of factions, by angels and wisdom keepers and star brothers, all the wisdom holders on the earth, off the earth. In so many dimensions, the deities have told us. Prophecies, glyphs, petroglyphs, information, not the 3D printed kind. But some of these have been manipulated, The warnings have come to us to be ready, to be prepared. So how did some of us take that? To apocalypse, to prepping. But I don't feel that. What are we being prepared for? For what? It may not be what you're thinking. It's not about being a prepper, but being prepared. It's to ride out what the universe wants for you while having what you need. This is trust. Trust that you have what you need, that you can get what you need, and trust what the universe is about to bring you. To trust the universe and to be comfortable in this ludicrous speed is kind of difficult for some. Because it's really transparent, the stuff that's coming flying out of us. Everything that's in lower vibration is coming out of the auric fields of many people. I'm seeing it in my clients and my friends. Explosions of emotions, explosions of anger, infidelity, dishonesty. All big, huge signs that someone needs to tend to their vibrations. We can see this in individuals and in groups and in affiliations of all kinds, like governments and planets. The ludicrous speed and the transparency is bringing about all the explosions in our affiliations, explosions and divisions in our governments, in our planets, in our speed, in our process. Why? We're in a defrag mode. Part of what's happening in this speed and transparency is the truth of each being is being unearthed. Your divine truth. Now, I don't mean, if we're going to speak our truth. I know some people, like I get this vision of people going to the grocery store and picking up like 15 pieces of poster board and some wood and some colored markers, and they go home and spread out on the dining room table and they spill out all their anger and their rage about the anger and the rage around them. Like, what kind of sense does that make? This is where you get to choose to either berate, belittle, or downgrade another person, or display your truth. Those are two different things. Think twice. This is not your truth to berate, belittle, or downgrade, even if what you're downgrading is something ugly. You'd be operating in the construct of hate. And the construct of hate was never gifted to us as a process of life, of enlivening ourselves. Hate was gifted to us so that we could discern our compassion and alignment with our truth. Because if you're operating out of a construct of hate, you're confined in an idea that's lacking compassion. Even if it's shown in a really ugly atrocity, which you're getting ready to be shown some. So I'm trying to really dig in now and talk about speaking your truth with compassion so that you can maybe alter your vision and for perception of what you see. This is crucial to alignment. Because speaking your truth is simply being honest with yourself. Finally being honest with yourself and speaking about a subject, no matter what it is. If it's about ETs or about secret space programs or about popes and pedophile rings, we learn through compassion to speak about the truths that we understand, about these things that we can speak about with honesty and respect and diplomacy, not by lashing out on another. I'm kind of talking about cosmic codes of conduct here, universal truths. Because speaking our truth can come in many ways and be shown to others in all kinds of different forms. And these different forms are none of your business. Did you get that? Like how another being receives your truth is none of your business? When you've done this with grace and kindness and offered your truth, that is all. When you speak your truth, it's none of your business the outcome of that truth. How the perception rolls around in another person's brain and attaches on to their, miasms of fear or hatred. You didn't create fear and hatred within them that made their perceptions change about your truth. So I'll give you an example. I'll use myself, and I just did an interview the other day and posted it about my Sasquatch experience in 2015. And I felt guided that it was really time to share my truth. And it is a truth that I actually have held as anonymous. I spoke anonymously about it. I really didn't speak to it about really anyone. I didn't want others to know about this crazy thing that had happened to me or think I was freaking crazy. I mean, my children already think that I need, 10 foil hats. I think they gave me one of those for Christmas one year. So I didn't want to share with others because I actually had a fear inside me of their lashing out, of their opinion and their potential ridicule. Because I told a story that was quite real to me. Luckily, I had other people with me who created the same reality. But the telepathic communication that I had with a Sasquatch, I can't really explain to too many people, but now I feel I can. I'm not caring what their opinion is of my truth. It's what I lived. It's not what I'm looking at rolling around in their brain. So I've chosen, through compassion, to kind of put a boundary around myself of my truth. It's none of my business. And, if I was kind of like a psychic person, which I am, and maybe you are too, what if you inserted your mind into the other person's mind now, all worried about what they're going to think about what you just said? Well, that's where you're intruding on their activity of their brain, that's intrusive. That's lacking compassion. So you see, manipulation and control of another person's perception is really what I was doing. So now, even the day of the filming, I was nervous about speaking my truth. And I would roll through my head some of the colleagues that I used to have, or some of the people that were friendly with me, or even family members that are probably going to now think I'm freaking crazy. But it's none of my business. And that's okay with me. So now I had to bring some confidence, because this isn't about privacy anymore. It's about transparency. And it's basically about me getting rid of the fear of this speaking my truth in this aspect. I speak my truth in most aspects. But this one I was holding back. There's a lot of actually activities that I've been involved in that I have held back from speaking about anonymously. Part of it is for my own safety. I know things that many people are being, killed across the world for. And I do not want to put myself or my family in jeopardy. So I go about my truth in a little different direction. I'm not making placards with my truth flying on them. My car isn't filled with thousands of stickers. So, this basic lack of fear that I had, the lack of confidence in myself, because I wasn't clear in my thoughts and aligning with my soul that I could speak my truth without the fear, without really caring what others thought. But I needed to remember compassion for myself first. I offered an idea, a view, in a very compassionate way, so my truth could be accepted or not is not part of my concern. And I will tell you, the feedback has been phenomenal. 95% phenomenally truthful and positive about the interview. And then there's another 5% of people who absolutely think I'm, making it up, discredited me. And I feel a complete clarity now about my subject, about my truth around this subject. So it feels unwavering. So it feels like this interview happened through nudges, through the universe, possibly through the Sasquatch. But another thing I needed to have was some courage. We all need some courage when we find it time to speak our truth, and we may have to, really work at that, because this is about compassion, being compassionate for ourselves first. So gathering up the courage is one way to speak your truth. You see, your soul and your alignment with the universe seeks a passage through this transparency. So that kind of requires you to speak it, or offer it, or be it. Og Tellez has been speaking this for a while now. He understands. I'm not saying for you to spout your truth, or yell your truth, or scream it in others' faces. Compassion wouldn't allow that. This is through kindness and grace. When you claim your truth through this fifth gate of the throat chakra, and it opens, and you can speak the words that have, been held back for eons, well, all the years of having ridicule and laws and severe punishments for speaking our truths is now coming up for us. We are feeling the need to speak when we see the atrocities, and this may be epigenetic. So you need to be careful of what is garnering your truth. There is manipulation in our cells. Not all of it is divine. So right now, if you're not speaking your truth, it's pretty uncomfortable on Earth. And that's why people are going into explosions. So here we are, this state of affairs where so many on an Earth are not speaking their truth. It's part of the learned response that motivates us to give others what they want. You know a lot of people that do that. They tell you what they want, they don't tell you the truth. Or at least what we think they want, even if it means sacrificing what we want. There's a lot of give and take in giving our truth. But what if we all gifted our truth? without ridicule in our own minds of what other people think, without you being the busybody of another person's mind. I think of that like Mrs. Kravitz in my I Dream a Genie, I guess. And I could just saw her like knocking on someone's like third eye. Like, knock, knock, what do you think about me? Oh, God. No, you think I'm crazy. I'm so sorry. And then you turn around and walk away. Well, we don't need to be the Mrs. Kravitz anymore about what other people think about us. It's not our state of affair. And if we do that, we're putting ourselves last, and that's not what we're here to do. Truth doesn't mean you're going to be looked at as a dictator of the truth. Truth is your truth. It's an individual perception of the holographic nature of reality and the information of your multidimensional awareness. So this is layers and layers of truths within you. So you need to find the ones that are divine, the ones that feel heartfelt. So we can never really determine another person's truth. We can't do that for an individual or a society. Do you understand that? This is a big concept for too many humans, and I won't even go too far into that. We cannot do that for an individual or a society. You cannot determine another person's truth. There is no right and there is no wrong. That's a hard one. But so there is this understanding that each of us is capable of telling the truth only as we see it. It has been like my experience that when I make it clear that I'm telling my truth, which is necessarily, includes from my feeling nature, from my heart, I realize I'm not being viewed as either an authoritarian or immovable in my position. It's, just my opinion. So you can also learn to be clear about what you want. There's a general belief that we generally serve others by putting their desires before our own. That happens all the time. I've come to understand, though, mostly through trial and error, that I best serve others in any given situation by being clear about what I want. This is compassion. For yourself first, and then others. This is the alchemy of compassion. It is a science. It's that truth and service come when we are clear in our minds and our emotions. Even if no one agrees with you or is not willing to let you have what you want, your clarity and your clear communication about what you want provides everybody in the room with valuable information to determine a course of action that will work for everyone when you speak the truth of your being. When it's done heartfelt. People can balk at this. They can throw darts at you from this. I've had this happen. When you speak the truth, it is often not received well. That's why I'm asking you to be resilient here and to be compassionate with yourself and others. Because sometimes we attempt to steer others towards accepting our hidden agendas without making a plain statement about what we want. This is subversive. This is manipulative. Yes, it is. Could be, a little bit of vampiric Luciferian. We all have a little bit of that going on somewhere in our reality. So let's look into our deep intentions that are based in our truths, because some of those could be manipulated. Our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas can be manipulated by frequencies, by nanotechnology, by EMFs, by mind control, by simple mass media. This is part of the defrag process of releasing these motivations and these crazy, intentions that were not yours, the manipulated and maligned ones. They don't align with your truth. So being clear about what you want is part of talking about your truth. So there's also another aspect, which is the fear, the consequences of telling the truth. I kind of touched on that earlier with my own fear. But sometimes we withdraw from the truth because we know it's not something an authority figure wants to hear. And This is the case sometimes in where you work or within your family unit or your parental unit, your family ties. It's hard to tell your truth with your family sometimes. Take a minute to reflect on your ability or your inability to tell your truth, particularly in the workplace. Notice how frequently you say things that are safe or politically correct and don't say the things that are true for you but are not necessarily as safe. You don't have to do anything about this. I'm not asking you to monitor yourself every day. I'm just saying, just look at it for a second and notice how frequently or infrequently you're willing to tell your truth. At home, at work, with your friends, with relatives. Are you telling different truths to be around different people? That seems to be quite prevalent here. What mask are you wearing? A mask for friends, a mask for home, and a mask for colleagues? Take them all off and let's talk about our truths. The ones where you believe in Sasquatch. We're the ones you might believe in fairies. Or you believe you might have spoken to an ET yesterday. These are all truths for many, many humans on the earth. You can call them crazy. Maybe you're working out of manipulated truths in your epigenetic cellular body. So holding back the truth, our truths, collective truths, are hampering this organization that we're trying to have here on an earth. We're trying to recognize and make the best use of our knowledge and our experience and our intuition. There's so many thousands of beings, millions of beings. If we all spoke our truths and accepted the truths of others, we'd be operating in a different way. It would be incalculable about what could happen. The possibilities, the quantum fractal alignment would be much different than it is now. So open communication and telling your truth with kindness is what's going to be required right now. I mean, we're all in for some ride here. There's so many truths that will be displayed really soon, and many of them could be potentially harmful and damaging to our psyches. But we can choose to be prepared for these. To emotionally, mentally prepare for seeing the truth and speaking the truth. There is no other way. Outbursts and outcries and general displays of temper tantrums and uncomfortableness will come from us if we don't speak our truth. So be ready. When you tell someone that there are extraterrestrials that live on our earth and that our governments have worked with them for a long, long time, and that the weather is manipulated and pharmaceutical companies and mass media are all controlled and owned by just a handful of reptilian families, and that companies like the Rand Corporation were instrumental in constructing the boxes that many are now living in, called the Matrix, the false grid. Speak your truth with compassion for yourself first. Then you won't be put in a position of danger. When you're looking out for the body and mind you inhabit first, then you won't just spout truths with no need to spout a truth. We're not here to convince others of your truth. Your truth is not just, for everyone else. Your truth is yours, but you can speak it. There are 3-letter agencies and a Clinton Foundation that's active in the pursuit of those that speak their truths. Do it with compassion, and this will assist and protect us all. So remember also that there are too many truths in too many dimensions. The only dimension that matters right now is the earthly, the cosmic connection. You connected with the universal source, the Christ consciousness within you, now communicating with a world and its humanity. This is the palpable, solid sovereignty. Oh, the sovereignty. It makes so many angry to see us find our wings, to feel our truths and define our lives based on speaking our truth. We're in for resurrection. We're in for resolution. We're in for regeneration. And I'm excited. I hope you are. So speaking of regeneration and of truth, I have this process that many of my clients have found really extremely beneficial lately. It's an 11-day audio series called The Template of Grace, where I have these 11 daily short meditations that I worked up. They're extremely powerful, very clearing, and they become an activation of the cellular and auric body, where your body becomes grace, your mind becomes grace, and you take on all aspects of your divinity very quickly. I made this because we're in a time where acceleration is possible, that our adaptation cycles within our bodies and minds can be turned way up. So let's do this. Let's progress to our truths with grace and ease in our transitions. So that's one way. And then another way is on my website, you can find a free ebook called Solene, the Ancient One. It's a compilation of 10 years of channelings, transmissions that came from a cosmic and earthly collective that I call the Ancient One. It's basically a guidebook for immortality. Coded guidebook. It's free on my website, cindycarterhealing.com. I look forward to our continuing talks about alchemy and you becoming the alchemist and learning to speak your truth, to alter the cellular and mental and emotional and etheric bodies back to peace. The divine peace and joy that you are, because you'll be speaking your truth with compassion. It'll assist you, and it'll assist a whole humanity in great ways while you go about the great work. So, many blessings as you align in your truth of this day.